We're in Cape Town Fish Market waiting for a fish platter to eat before we go across to Robben Island. A great day.
Robben Island's a 4-hour trip, and what everybody's going for is to see the cell of Nelson Mandela, which you actually get to right at the very end in the last 5 minutes. So I'm going to do the reverse and show it to you first. The former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, was imprisoned here on Robben Island for 18 of his 27 years. And this was his cell. Ex-inmates are employed to take you around the second part of the tour. The second hour is actually the prison itself. And one keenly explained that Nelson Mandela had a vegetable garden. He grew brinjals, tomatoes, onions, spinach, and he shared them with the guards who brought in meat on a Friday, and they'd cook up a big stew, which everybody ate together.
Want to see a penguin? Come to Robben Island because you can see them clearly and quite close up. So basically you get off the ferry and then they put you on buses, and the first hour is a bus tour where they tell you all about the history of the island and the people that were imprisoned here.
For all the enthusiasm shown to get onto the ship, everybody sails at the same time, arrives at the same time, gets in a bus, and they're taken around the island at the same time.
Exciting.
So, there is no real need to rush. Films play as you travel, and when you arrive, you head for the coaches.
Here we go, we're starting the tour.
They take you around the island and show you some of the old prison blocks and the limestone quarry, where the prisoners were set to hard labour. The cave tucked away in the back was their only shelter, and they would, if allowed, go and eat their lunch in there. And houses of people who now live there and work there.
But now currently 130 people are staying at this village, and they are some of the employees of Robben Island.
The coach stop is where you can pick up refreshments, see the penguins, and have that great view of Table Mountain across Table Bay. Shortly after this, you'll leave the coach and start the walking tour of the prison.
Going in prison now. So this is the armoury. So all the prison officers were trained to use guns. So I guess that's the prison uniform. That was what they were issued with. Africans, short pants, shirts, moleskin jackets and sandals, and no underpants. Coloured and Indian prisoners were given long pants, shirt jackets, underpants, socks and shoes. Africans only received long pants in 1971.
When the Dutch first arrived in 1616, the island was used to keep sheep. It has been a political prison, keeping prisoners from as far and wide as the Middle East, and it has been a leper colony.
This is where 60 to 70 of the prisoners were locked every night. This is where they spent the nights on the floor. This was their cell.
I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Lucky. Lucky.
This is Lucky, our guide, and he was a political prisoner here. When we take you to Quarry Island in Dakar, you will see that 20 or so prisoners were kept in a cell the size of Nelson Mandela's.
After 1964, they had beds. They didn't have to sleep on the floor anymore.
It was also used to keep political prisoners from Namibia. South Africa has had its conflicts with its neighbour, Namibia. This modern prison was opened in 1961, closed in 1991 with the last prisoners leaving in 1996.
At least the prisoners here had toilets which flushed, whereas on Nelson Mandela's side, where the leaders, the political leaders were, they had to go in a bucket of sand.
The most read book in the library, the FIFA football rules. And they had their own football association for their own football teams. It was called the Makana Football Association.
Oh, that's who's in here. So this is a cell, and this is the section the isolation section.
As prisons go around the world, I've seen far worse prisons with worse conditions. What was wrong here is the time that people spent in prison just for political dissension. Imagine if we had that in the UK or America today. Half the country would be in prison.
This was this guy's cell. Horrible, huh? This is A section. So they've got a bath in here, but I think that's because it was the hospital. There was one female nurse here, and the prisoners used to sometimes pretend to be ill, just so that they could see a woman.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cruise Doris Visits, and see some of our other African stops, like Namibia or Dakar in Senegal.
That is a box tick, because I've always wondered what it was like, but it's nothing like I imagined. So this was his walk to freedom.
Except it wasn't, if you're in a pub quiz. This ceased to be a prison in 1991, and he was released from another prison. He also didn't die here, which is another common misconception. It was just a very grim place and a milestone in history. And across the water, it's colourful, exciting, with wonderful food and great wine. See our other films on South Africa. And the penguins. Don't forget the penguins.
We've just stopped in Dakar in Senegal. Isn't it funny how a port never looks how you expect it to? We're off to explore.
Another prison. We have over 500 cruise port guides on YouTube. Please check us out, subscribe to the channel, and see some other cruise port guides from around the world, from Rio to Iceland to the Mediterranean to the Canaries and back again. And while you're on holiday, please try one of our cruise crime thrillers. Start with the first one, Cruise Ship Heist.